Welcome, everyone. Thank you for tuning in today. I'm excited to share a captivating story of resilience, strategy, and redemption. In this story, we follow a remarkable character who faces betrayal and manipulation from those closest to her. But instead of backing down, she uses her intellect, patience, and determination to reclaim her power. As you listen, you'll witness how true strength lies not in revenge, but in the ability to build something better from the ashes of adversity. Stay with us, and I hope this journey inspires you as much as it did me. Rachel O'Connor stood at the executive floor of O'Connor Enterprises, gazing out over the city her father had helped build. At 35, she was at the helm of the family company, a legacy of innovation and hard work. But something wasn't right. The company's numbers had inexplicably dropped despite record sales, and the once tight-knit leadership had started to fray. Rachel had always been her father's right hand, prepared to take over when he passed away. But when her brother-in-law Adam married her sister Claire, things started to change. Adam's smooth talk and ambition had begun to slowly chip away at her leadership, undermining her authority at every turn. Rachel soon discovered that the sabotage was intentional. With delayed shipments, misdirected orders, and subtle financial discrepancies, Adam had been quietly working to discredit her. Knowing her focus on integrity and transparency made her an easy target. What he didn't know was that Rachel, who had been keeping a low profile, was a lot more prepared than he realized. Behind the scenes, she had been building her own case, quietly amassing evidence of his deliberate efforts to weaken the company. Rachel wasn't just going to stand by as her brother-in-law's machinations threatened the company her father had built. She was about to reclaim control of O'Connor Enterprises, no matter the cost. The game was set, and Rachel was ready to show Adam and the board that integrity wasn't just the best strategy, it was the only one that could save them. Rachel's discovery began with a simple, offhand email that had been sent to the wrong address. One evening, while reviewing quarterly projections, she found a strange message buried in her inbox, accidentally copied to her from one of the company's manufacturing partners. The email contained a troubling conversation about delayed shipments and missed deadlines, all for clients who had been unhappy with the company's performance. As Rachel sifted through the correspondence, she realized something was off. The delays weren't random, they were intentional. She opened another email, this time from Adam to one of their competitors, offering to subtly sabotage O'Connor Enterprises contracts in exchange for preferential treatment from the competitor. Rachel's stomach churned as she continued scrolling, uncovering more incriminating exchanges, misdirected payments, attempts to block business deals, and other suspicious activities that Adam had orchestrated behind her back. Her heart pounded with the realization that Adam, the man she had once trusted as family, was systematically dismantling the company her father had built. This wasn't just about mistakes or poor management, it was calculated, deliberate sabotage. In that moment, everything clicked into place. The discrepancies in the books that had puzzled her for months, the unexplained shipping errors, the constant undermining of her leadership, it was all part of Adam's plan to gain control of the company. She sat back in her chair, shocked by the extent of his treachery. Rachel had known something wasn't right, but seeing the evidence laid out before her was a gut-wrenching confirmation of her worst fears. He had been working with a competitor, playing a dangerous game of manipulation to replace her as CEO. And he had done it all while masquerading as a devoted family man, pretending to be concerned about the company's well-being. Her mind raced with the knowledge that her father's legacy, the company she had dedicated her life to, was being poisoned from the inside out. Rachel knew she couldn't let this stand. She had to take action. But she also knew that she had to be careful. The stakes were too high. If she acted rashly, it could be the end of everything her father had worked for. But if she played her cards right, if she was patient and strategic, she could reclaim the company and expose Adam for what he truly was. And so, she began preparing for the next step, gathering the evidence she needed to ensure that Adam's betrayal would not only be uncovered but that he would be held accountable for every single one of his actions. She was no longer just a CEO trying to save a company, she was now fighting to protect her father's legacy. And she was prepared to fight dirty if necessary. Rachel's mind raced as she formulated a plan. She knew this battle wouldn't be easy. Adam was cunning and well-connected. And he had been operating behind her back for far too long. But Rachel wasn't the naive young woman she once was. She had spent years learning the ins and outs of the business, honing her skills as a leader, and building relationships with key stakeholders in the industry. This was her time to shine. Over the next few days, she carefully built her case, gathering every shred of evidence she could find. Emails, bank transactions, text messages. She meticulously pieced together a web of lies and manipulation that Adam had woven around the company. She spent hours working with her legal team, ensuring that every piece of documentation was airtight. She wasn't just going to confront him, she was going to dismantle his entire scheme, leaving him no room for escape. Rachel also knew that in order to bring Adam down, she had to act with precision. She couldn't just walk into the next board meeting and confront him without proof. It had to be carefully orchestrated. She began contacting her most trusted allies in the company, the ones who had always supported her, and shared her findings with them. They were shocked, of course, but they understood what needed to be done. One by one, they agreed to back her up. She also reached out to the company's external auditors, requesting an independent review of the books. She wanted every fraudulent transaction to be exposed, every detail of Adam's betrayal laid bare. The pressure was mounting. Every day, Rachel watched as Adam continued his sabotage, slowly but surely undermining her leadership in front of the board, all while pretending to be the savior of the company. At times, it felt like she was walking a tightrope, knowing that if she tipped her hand too soon, Adam would go into full damage control mode, making it harder to expose him. But Rachel had a secret weapon, the same competitors Adam had been courting. She had spent the past few weeks planting seeds of doubt in their minds, subtly feeding them information that painted a different picture of the situation. She knew it was only a matter of time before they would begin questioning Adam's actions. Rachel's ultimate goal wasn't just to expose Adam for the sabotage he had orchestrated, it was to take the company back from him, proving that she was the rightful leader of O'Connor Enterprises, not the opportunist her brother-in-law had become. The final piece of the puzzle came when Rachel uncovered a hidden account in the company's financial records. The account was linked to a series of shady transactions, payments made to shell companies with no real business purpose. It was the smoking gun she had been waiting for. The account had been created under the guise of routine business expenses, but a closer look revealed a pattern of embezzlement that pointed directly to Adam. She couldn't believe how deeply he had embedded himself in the company's financial system, and the lengths he had gone to cover his tracks. But with this discovery, everything was about to change. She quickly secured the files and made a copy, knowing that she had the evidence she needed to bring him down once and for all. The day of the board meeting arrived. Rachel walked into the conference room, her heart pounding in her chest, but her face calm and composed. Adam was already seated at the head of the table, exuding confidence as usual, but Rachel could see the flicker of nervousness in his eyes. He knew something was coming. The room buzzed with murmurs as the board members filed in, and Rachel took her seat at the table. She glanced around at the familiar faces, the people who had once supported her and who had now become unsure of who to trust. Today, everything would be revealed. The time for secrets was over. Rachel was ready to expose Adam for who he truly was and show the board the truth behind the company's sudden decline. She could feel the weight of the moment in her chest. This was the turning point. This was where everything would change. As the room settled into tense silence, Rachel stood up, her voice calm but steady. She looked directly at Adam, who was still sitting at the head of the table, trying to maintain an air of authority. Adam, she began, I think it's time we address the real reason for the company's decline. She paused for a moment, allowing her words to hang in the air. The board members shifted in their seats, sensing something was about to unfold. Adam's eyes flickered with a mix of confusion and defiance. But Rachel wasn't deterred. She clicked a button on the remote, and the large projector screen behind her lit up, displaying a series of incriminating emails, financial reports, and bank transfers. Over the past 6 months, Rachel continued, our numbers have been manipulated and sabotaged, and I have the evidence to prove it. These emails, she said, pointing to the screen, show you in communication with our competitors. undermining our contracts and orchestrating delays in production. These financial records, she gestured to the next slide, document significant discrepancies that were hidden from the board. And here, she clicked again, revealing a transfer log. You've been siphoning funds to accounts that don't belong to the company. The room erupted into gasps and murmurs. Adam stood up abruptly, his face flushed with anger. This is absurd, he shouted. These documents could be fabricated. It's all a lie. Rachel remained composed, her gaze unwavering. Fabricated? I think the board deserves to hear from our CFO. Don't you? She turned to Mr. Chen, who had been quietly reviewing the documents. He hesitated for a moment, then nodded solemnly. These documents are legitimate, Mr. Chen said, his voice cutting through the chaos. I've verified them, and I can confirm that there were significant irregularities in the financial records. These weren't mistakes, they were deliberate manipulations. Adam's face went pale as the truth sank in. He tried to compose himself, but it was clear that his carefully crafted facade was crumbling. This is a setup, he yelled, his voice trembling with frustration. You can't prove any of this. Rachel clicked to the final slide, revealing the last piece of her strategy, the share purchases she had quietly made over the past several months. Actually, Adam, she said with a sly smile, I can. I now own 51% of the company. And with this vote, I'll be taking back control. The shock in the room was palpable. Board members exchanged glances, unsure of what to do next. Adam's face twisted with disbelief and rage. You can't do this, he spat, his voice cracking, but it was too late. The truth was out, and Rachel had just taken back her company and her future. In the aftermath of the confrontation, the room remained eerily silent, as if the gravity of the situation was sinking in for everyone present. Adam stood frozen, his face ashen, unable to process what had just unfolded. Rachel, however, was calm and composed, taking control of the situation as her years of careful preparation and determination finally bore fruit. The board members, who had been swayed by Adam's manipulations, now turned to her for direction. She addressed them with authority, her voice firm. The vote is clear, she said. We've confirmed Adam's misconduct, and as of this moment, he is no longer in charge of this company. The board, after some hesitation, agreed, and with that, Adam was officially removed from his position. The security team was called in to escort him out of the building. A humiliating sight for the man who had once been so confident in his control over Palmer Industries. Rachel turned to face the room, her resolve unwavering. This company was built on trust, integrity, and innovation, she continued, her voice carrying over the now quiet room. Those values will remain at the heart of everything we do moving forward. We will rebuild stronger, smarter, and with the transparency and leadership my father envisioned. As the meeting came to a close, the tension in the room began to dissipate, replaced by a sense of optimism. The board members who had once been complicit in Adam's schemes now rallied behind Rachel, understanding that her leadership was the key to the company's survival and growth. The first steps in restoring Palmer Industries began immediately. Audits were scheduled, teams were reassigned, and clear plans were put into motion to address the gaps in communication and operation caused by Adam's sabotage. Meanwhile, Rachel made the rounds with her employees, personally reassuring them that the company's values would be restored. She addressed the staff, promising that the days of fear and uncertainty were over. We will rise above this, she said, her eyes scanning the room. Your hard work and dedication will be rewarded. And together, we'll build a company that is stronger and more united than ever before. In the weeks that followed, Palmer Industries experienced a swift and impressive recovery. The stock price began to rebound as clients, who had been left in the dark during Adam's sabotage, returned, eager to resume their partnerships with a company that now stood for integrity and innovation. Rachel's leadership was tested, but she proved to be the anchor Palmer Industries needed. She focused not only on business metrics but also on restoring morale, empowering her team, and ensuring that every decision was made transparently. As for Adam, his world quickly unraveled. His fraudulent actions were brought to light, and legal investigations followed. His career, once filled with promise, now lay in ruins. His betrayal had cost him everything. Rachel's final triumph wasn't just in reclaiming the company, she had exposed the truth, stood strong in the face of adversity, and ensured that Palmer Industries would flourish once again. Months later, as she sat in her father's old office, Rachel reviewed the latest financial reports with satisfaction. The company was thriving, her father's legacy was intact, and she had proven to herself and everyone else that she was more than capable of leading Palmer Industries into a new era. With a quiet smile, she looked out over the city, knowing that despite all the obstacles, she had not only saved her family's company but had made it stronger than it had ever been. As Rachel sat in her office, the weight of the past months finally seemed to lift. The battle she had fought to reclaim Palmer Industries had been grueling, but the outcome was undeniable. Her father's teachings had shaped her into the leader she had become. But it was her resilience and unwavering belief in the company's core values that had truly guided her through. Looking back, Rachel realized that it wasn't just about saving the company, it was about preserving the legacy of trust and innovation her father had built, and proving that integrity could never be undermined by deceit. In her final reflection, Rachel felt a deep sense of gratitude, not just for the triumph over Adam, but for the support of her employees, her unwavering conviction, and the strength to confront the hardest challenges head-on. Her father had always believed that true leadership was about inspiring others, and she had done just that. As the company continued to thrive, Rachel knew that the future of Palmer Industries was secure in her hands. The lessons she had learned, patience, preparation, and the power of resilience, would continue to guide her, not just in business, but in life. In the end, Rachel realized that the greatest victories aren't just about defeating enemies or achieving business success. It's about staying true to oneself, upholding the values that define you, and rising above the challenges that test your integrity. Adam's betrayal had pushed her to the edge, but it also propelled her to become the leader her father had always believed she could be. Palmer Industries, once under siege, was now stronger than ever, not just because of financial success, but because it was built on the foundation of trust and transparency that Rachel had carefully restored. As she looked out over the company she had saved, Rachel knew that her journey wasn't just about reclaiming what was lost. It was about creating something even greater, a company where every person could feel valued, empowered, and proud of their contributions. The road ahead was filled with new challenges, but Rachel was ready. She had learned that no matter the odds, standing firm in your convictions and leading with integrity would always be the key to lasting success. Palmer Industries was her legacy now, and she would ensure it thrived for generations to come. The story teaches us that true success comes not from defeating rivals or achieving personal gain, but from upholding integrity and staying true to one's values. Rachel's journey illustrates how resilience, patience, and the ability to adapt can turn challenges into opportunities for growth. Betrayal and adversity may shake you, but the strength to rebuild, restore trust, and lead with transparency is what truly defines leadership. In the end, success isn't just about reclaiming what was lost, it's about creating something stronger and more meaningful that reflects your true character and vision for the future.